Above the sky was red with smoke, and the ground was broken by fire. The war had ended. But silence was heavier than gunshots. Human soldiers walked slowly through the ruins, their boots sinking in the ash. Among them was a young officer named Ethan, his eyes tired, his hands still shaking from battle. Ethan had seen many strange things in war, but nothing had prepared him for this moment. In the middle of the destroyed city stood a single figure. A girl, not human, not like anyone he had ever seen before. Her skin shimmered faint blue under the fading sun, and her eyes glowed as if holding stars inside them. She was calm, too calm for someone standing in the middle of destruction. The soldiers around Ethan stopped. Some raised their weapons, others whispered in fear. "Is that her?" One of them said in a broken voice. Nobody wanted to step closer, nobody dared. The air around her felt heavy, almost alive, as if even the ruins bowed to her presence. Ethan felt his heart beat faster. He did not know why, but he felt something pulling him forward. His body moved before his mind understood. He walked past the other soldiers, his boots crunching against the stone. Everyone stared at him, confused and afraid. The girl's gaze shifted to him, her eyes locked on his, and for a moment, it felt like the whole world had vanished. Ethan's chest tightened. He felt small, smaller than he had ever felt in his life. It was not fear of death. It was something deeper, something he could not name. And then, without thinking, Ethan did the unthinkable. He bowed. The ruins held their breath. The soldiers gasped. The wind itself seemed to freeze. A human officer had bowed to an alien girl. Nobody spoke. Nobody moved. The silence was louder than any explosion. Ethan did not even understand why he bowed. His body had chosen for him. His mind screamed with confusion. But the galaxy was already watching, far above the ruined world. Hidden satellites captured every movement, every ship orbiting the planet. Every station connected to the galactic net saw it. Billions of screens across alien worlds lit up, showing the same shocking image, a human bowing to the most feared. Girl in the stars. The girl did not move. Her expression stayed unreadable. Her glowing eyes blinked slowly. She tilted her head, as if studying him. For a long moment, she said nothing. And yet her silence was more terrifying than any words. Whispers spread among the soldiers. He bowed to her, one said, his voice trembling. "Do you know what this means?" Another replied. Fear crawled through their ranks. Some stepped back, some dropped their weapons. For them, it was already too late. The bow had changed everything on distant worlds. Alien leaders froze as they saw the broadcast. Some leaned forward in shock. Others leaned back in fear. The girl was known to all of them. They had given her many names. The Silent Doom. The Last Shadow, the girl who decides. Entire empires feared her. And now a human had bowed before her. Ethan rose slowly from his bow. His heart thundered in his chest, his mind filled with questions he could not ask. He stared at her, but she only stared back. Her calmness was unbearable. Then she smiled. It was small, almost hidden, but it was there. And that smile was worse than death, for it meant something the galaxy would never ignore. The recording spread like fire. In seconds, millions were watching. In minutes, billions were on the far edges of the galaxy. Children whispered in fear. In royal courts, kings and queens paused their councils. On battle stations, generals froze mid-command. All staring at the same scene. A boy, a bow, and a girl who could end them all. Ethan did not know any of this. To him, it was only a strange girl in a ruined temple. To him, it was only a bow. But to the galaxy, it was a declaration. The soldiers near him stepped back. They looked at Ethan as if he was cursed. Some whispered that humanity had just surrendered. Others whispered that humanity had just challenged the galaxy. Nobody agreed. Nobody understood. But the girl understood. Her smile widened a little. And in a voice soft as falling rain, she finally spoke. "You should not have bowed," she said, her words echoing in the ruins. "Now they will never leave. You alone." The soldiers shivered. Ethan froze. He had no idea what she meant, but he felt the weight of her words press down on his soul. Somewhere far away, a galactic council went silent. Somewhere, fleets prepared for war. Somewhere, old enemies looked at Earth with new eyes, because one boy had bowed to one girl, and the galaxy would never forget. The whispers of fear. The bow was still fresh in every mind. Soldiers could not forget the sight. Ethan's head lowered before the alien girl. The image was burned into them like fire against skin. For the humans on the ground, fear grew fast. They had survived war. But this was different. This was not bullets or bombs. This was something deeper, something older. Around the ruins, whispers spread. Some soldiers said she was a weapon. Others said she was a goddess. Many claimed she was death itself. Her silence was the loudest answer of all. One man muttered, "If she is here, it means the galaxy is watching." Another replied, "No. The galaxy fears to even look at her." But both were wrong, because the galaxy had not only looked, the galaxy had seen everything. On distant worlds, screens glowed with the moment of the bow. Aliens with sharp teeth, glowing eyes, scaled skin, or wings watched in silence. None laughed, none cheered. Instead they whispered too, each race whispering the same fear in different tongues. "She has been acknowledged," they said. "The humans have stepped into the circle." Ethan did not know their words, but he felt their weight without hearing. He stood before the alien girl, confused. His chest rose and fell quickly. His mind wanted to run, but his legs refused. She was not chasing him. She was not harming anyone. Yet her stillness was more dangerous than an army. Her name was not spoken aloud. No one dared. Every soldier called her only with nicknames. Some said the Silent Doom, others said the Last Shadow. But one old soldier whispered a story, his voice shaking. "She is the judged child," he said. "A girl born from a war long before humans had fire." His words spread fast. Men leaned closer, women shivered. Even the wind seemed to listen. The story said she was created by an ancient empire that ruled stars like a crown. That empire is gone now. Erased by her existence, she had walked among their kings and queens. She had bowed to none. Instead, they had bowed to her, and after that, their empire had fallen in less than a year. The soldiers felt their throats dry. If the story was true, then Ethan's bow was not a mistake, it was a curse. Because the galaxy would think humanity had chosen her. The galaxy would believe humans had tied their future to hers. Ethan stood lost in thought, his eyes on the girl. Her glowing eyes did not leave him. She tilted her head, as if reading his soul. She looked so young, so fragile, yet her presence was heavier than war. Suddenly, a voice crackled through the cums of the soldiers. The command ship orbiting above had seen everything. Their order was clear. Do not engage, do not attack, keep distance. But the commander's voice shook. He had seen her before, long ago. He knew what it meant. The soldiers looked at Ethan differently now, some with pity, some with hatred, some with awe. To them, he was no longer just a young officer. He was a messenger, a cursed one, far away on alien worlds. Whispers turned into fear. In the black markets of crime lords, smugglers lowered their voices. "The humans have bowed," they said. In temples of forgotten gods, priests trembled. "The humans have bowed," they said. In palaces of kings, crowns felt heavier. "The humans have bowed," they said. For the first time in history, the act of one man had tied Earth to the deepest nightmare of the galaxy. The girl still did not move. She looked at Ethan, then at the ruins around her. Her lips curved slightly, not in kindness, not in cruelty, but in knowing. She had seen this before. She had lived through it. Every bow had ended in fire. Every bow had ended in blood. She whispered, soft as breath, yet clear as thunder. "Do you hear them?" Ethan frowned, his lips parted, but he could not answer. The girl's voice spread like cold wind. "They are whispering your fear across the stars." Ethan's heart pounded. He did not understand, but he knew she was right. somewhere, everywhere. Voices were whispering. A single word echoed like a storm: fear, and above all, the galaxy feared silence, because silence was her answer. Silence was her power. Silence was her promise. Ethan bowed once, only once, but the whispers would never stop. The galactic audience. The bow did not remain in the ruins. It did not stay hidden on that broken planet. In less than a minute, it spread, faster than light, faster than thought, across networks, across empires, across every world that had eyes to see. Billions of screens lit up, in trading halls. Merchants froze mid-bargain, in schools. Children dropped their books, in warships. Admirals paused their orders, all staring at the same shocking image. A human bending his head to the alien girl, in the golden palace of the Car Dominion. 1,000 jeweled lights reflected off the crown of their emperor. His claws tapped against the throne, his voice a low growl. So, the humans were foolish enough to kneel. The council below him shifted nervously. Some whispered to attack Earth at once. Others warned caution, because bowing to her was never simple. On the cold moon of Ethros, the syndicate of shadows gathered. In silence, criminal lords with faces hidden behind masks watched the replay again and again. One finally spoke, his voice broken. "Do you know what this means? If she accepts the humans, then trade, power, and fear will flow through them." The others said nothing. Fear and greed mixed in their eyes. In the floating temples of the Arali priests, bells rang without hands. The priests fell to their knees, trembling. "It has begun again," their elder whispered. "The child of silence has chosen." For them, Ethan's bow was not mistake, it was prophecy. In the hidden council chambers of the Yaren Federation, generals pounded the table. Their voices clashed like thunder. "It's a trick," one shouted. "The humans are using her as a weapon," another slammed his fist. "No fools. They have chained themselves to a curse." Yet none could deny the truth. All of them had seen it with their own eyes. Across the galaxy, the same question spread. Who were the humans to bow to her? Who were they to stand before the one even kings avoided? Ethan, unaware of the storm, stood still before the alien girl. He could not hear the voices echoing across stars. He could not see the chaos his action had started. To him, it was silence. To the galaxy, it was thunder. In the massive halls of the Galactic Archive, ancient machines reactivated. They searched through old records. They whispered names long erased. Each file glowed with warnings. Each page told the same truth. Wherever she appeared, history broke. And now, her shadow touched Earth. Crowds gathered in markets, watching the footage on large screens. Some cheered for the humans, calling them bold. Others cursed them, calling them doomed. Children hid behind their parents. Soldiers sharpened their blades. The galaxy was no longer calm on distant frontier stations. Commanders ordered their fleets to ready, not for battle against Earth alone, but for the storm that always followed her. Rumors spread faster than ships. Some claimed she had smiled. Some claimed she had spoken. Some claimed she had chosen Ethan as her servant. Nobody knew the truth. Nobody cared. Fear was louder than truth. In the throne world of the Crimson Empire, their empress stood by her window. She watched the footage in silence. A glass of burning wine in her hand. "A bow," she whispered. "The humans have no idea what they've done." Her generals bowed to her, waiting for orders, but she gave none. She only smiled, cold and cruel. The galaxy was divided. Some prepared for war, some prepared for worship, all prepared for change. And at the center of it, one young human officer did not know he'd already rewritten the story of his people. The alien girl still stood calm, her silence more dangerous than words. Her glowing eyes reflected not just Ethan, but the galaxy itself, as if she knew every emperor watching, every child whispering, every soldier trembling. She did not need to speak. The galaxy was already speaking for her. The bow was no longer just a bow. It had become a chain that tied Earth to her name, a chain that pulled humanity into the eyes of all, and far, far away, in the dark between stars. Something older than empires stirred. It had waited for this moment. It had waited for the bow, and now it was awake. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was whispering. The galaxy was afraid. And the galaxy would never look away again. Asterisk the girl's secret. The ruins were silent. Yet Ethan felt the weight of millions of unseen eyes pressing against his back. The galaxy was watching. The galaxy was whispering. But here, in front of him, stood only one girl. She looked so fragile, her frame small, her face young, but her glowing eyes carried something ancient, something endless. Ethan stared at her, and the longer he looked, the more he realized he was not staring at a girl. He was staring at a storm disguised as a girl. The soldiers around him dared not breathe. Some still gripped their weapons, but their hands shook. Others prayed under their breath. Nobody dared to speak. Nobody dared to move, until she did. She stepped forward, just one step. The broken stones under her feet cracked like glass. Ethan's breath caught. His body wanted to retreat, but his legs were frozen. "You bowed," she said softly. Her voice was not loud, yet it filled the air. It slipped into every ear like a whisper, but pressed down like thunder. "Do you know what that means?" Ethan shook his head slowly. His lips parted, but no sound came. She smiled, faint but sharp. "It means your people are no longer hidden." The words struck harder than any weapon. The soldiers behind Ethan stiffened. Some glanced at the sky, as if waiting for fleets to descend. Ethan swallowed hard. "I don't understand," he whispered. Her eyes glowed brighter. "Of course you don't," she said, "because they never told you the story of me." She raised her hand, and for a moment, the ruins around them shifted. The broken walls flickered. The ash lifted like mist. A vision spread before their eyes, not just Ethan's, but everyone's. They saw a world of light and towers that touched the stars. An empire older than Earth itself. Armies knelt in millions, their heads lowered. At the center of their great hall stood the same girl, unchanged, her glowing eyes calm, her small hands folded. "They built me," she said, her voice echoing through the vision. "They gave me names. They called me judge. They called me heir. But in the end they feared me." The vision shifted. The empire that once stood proud burned. Towers fell. Armies scattered. The sky split open with fire. And in the middle of the flames, the girl walked alone, untouched. "I did not kill them," she said, her tone almost sad. "They killed themselves, because to kneel is to admit weakness. And to refuse me is to admit defiance. Both paths lead to ruin." The vision ended. The ruins returned. Ash fell again. Ethan gasped for air. His knees felt weak. Around him, soldiers looked pale, some shaking as if they had seen death itself. Ethan tried to speak. His voice cracked. "Why? Why are you showing me this?" The girl's eyes narrowed. "Because you bowed," she answered. "And now your people are part of the story." Ethan's heart sank. His bow had been instinct, a strange pull, but to her, it was a contract. And to the galaxy, it was a chain. "They will fear you now," she said. "Not because of your ships, not because of your armies, but because you bowed to me." She turned her gaze toward the sky, as if seeing beyond it. "The galaxy will believe I chose you. They will believe humanity carries my shadow, and they will never forgive you for it." Her words hung in the air like a curse. Ethan felt the ground tilt beneath him. He wanted to deny it, to say it was not true, but he knew, deep in his chest, that it was. She stepped closer, her face only inches from his, her voice a whisper. "I did not expect you," she said. "Humans are strange. No one has ever bowed so willingly." Ethan trembled. "What do you want from me?" Her eyes softened, but only for a second. "I want nothing," she said. "It is the galaxy that will want everything from you now." The soldiers behind Ethan whispered louder. Some cursed him, others stared with awe, but all of them understood. Nothing would ever be the same. The girl finally turned away, She looked at the ruins as if they were dust. "You are tied to me now," she said calmly, "and the galaxy will come for you." She paused, her glowing eyes shining with something darker. "And when they do," she whispered, "you will learn the real secret." The air grew colder. Ethan's chest tightened. He realized this was not the end of her truth. It was only the beginning. Far away, in councils and war rooms, leaders argued. In temples and palaces, voices rose. The humans had been chosen. The humans had bowed. The humans had entered the game of gods, and the galaxy prepared to strike. Humanity's gamble on Earth. The news broke like a storm. The footage of Ethan bowing to the alien girl played on every screen. Across continents, people stared in silence. Some laughed nervously, some cried, some cheered. But most only watched in fear. In the great halls of the United Earth Assembly, leaders shouted over one another. Their voices clashed like weapons. This was not planned. One delegate screamed, "One soldier cannot decide the fate of humanity." Another slammed his fist. "And yet he has. The galaxy believes it." Already, generals demanded action. "We should deny it," one barked. "Call it an accident, call it nothing." But diplomats argued back. "No, denial is weakness. The galaxy already whispers that she chose us. If we reject it, we look." Afraid, the chamber shook with chaos. Some leaders wanted war, to show humans were not slaves. Others wanted alliance, to use fear as a shield. But one truth united them all. Ethan's bow had changed humanity forever. On distant space stations, fleets prepared for deployment, human. Admirals studied the feeds of alien movements. Every empire was stirring, ships repositioned. Armies gathered, all waiting for Earth's reaction. The president of Earth sat alone in her office. Watching the clip again and again, her face unreadable, finally she whispered, "One boy bent his head, and the galaxy bends toward us." Her advisor stood silent, waiting. She turned her chair, her voice sharp, "Then let us bend it further. Let us turn fear into power." A gamble had begun. Secret messages flashed across space. Human envoys met alien traitors. "You saw what happened," they said. "Do you want to risk standing against us, now that she walks beside us?" Some aliens spat, refusing the deal. Others bowed their heads, not to humanity, but to the shadow of the girl. On colony worlds, ordinary people whispered, "Maybe this is good," some said. "Maybe no empire will dare to invade us now." But others shook their heads. "No, this will only bring war. No one trusts her. No one trusts anyone who bows to her." Back on the ruined planet, Ethan was still there, unaware of the firestorm he had started. His name was now spoken in every council, his face on every galactic broadcast. He was no longer just Ethan. He was the human who bowed, and for some, that was enough to hate him. Alien assassins began to move in shadows. Some hired to kill him, others hired to capture him. Each empire wanted answers. Some wanted proof of humanity's loyalty. Others wanted to break the bond before it grew stronger. But humanity itself was divided. Some saw Ethan as a hero, a symbol of courage. Others saw him as a traitor, a weak fool who had cursed them all. The gamble grew larger. Leaders debated day and night. Should they embrace the girl, claim her as an ally, use her fear as a weapon? Or should they deny her, push Ethan aside, and beg the galaxy for forgiveness? In the end, no agreement came. Instead, humanity stepped onto two paths at once. They spread messages of strength, telling the galaxy they were chosen. At the same time, they whispered in shadows, telling allies they wanted peace. It was a dangerous dance, and every step risked war. Meanwhile, the alien girl remained silent. She did not speak of alliance. She did not claim humanity as her own, yet she also did not deny it. Her silence was worse than words, because silence allowed every empire to imagine the worst. Ethan stood by her side, lost and confused. He had bowed once, and now his people gambled their future on it. He felt like a pawn, but in the galaxy's eyes, he looked like a king's piece, from the icy moons of the far rim to the burning cores. Of old empires the whispers spread. The humans play a dangerous game, some said. The humans believe they can ride the shadow, others answered, and somewhere, in the depths of dark space, an ancient voice stirred. It remembered the last empire that gambled with her. It remembered how quickly they burned, humanity thought. They were playing the galaxy, but in truth, the galaxy was playing them, and she, the alien girl, was the board itself. The trial of power. The galaxy did not wait long. Within days, messages were sent, fleets were moved, and demands were made. Humanity was called to the council, the oldest gathering of the stars, a place where empires stood side by side, never as friends, but never as strangers. For centuries, no human had ever been invited inside its halls, but now they were not invited. They were summoned. The chamber of the council was older than Earth's pyramids, carved into a hollow moon. Its walls were covered in living stone that pulsed with light. In the center, a great circle burned with the glow of stars, and around it thousands of seats rose high. Each seat held a ruler, a general, or a priest, some with skin of fire, some with bodies of glass, some with no body at all but voices that rattled the air. And in the middle of it all, under the weight of 1 billion unseen eyes, stood Ethan. He had been taken from the ruins, escorted by silent ships with no markings. He did not resist. He could not. Around him now were diplomats, generals, and machines representing humanity. But it was clear to him, none of them were in control. The trial was for him alone. A voice boomed across the chamber, deep and cold. "Human, you bowed before her. Do you deny it?" Ethan's throat tightened. His voice was weak but steady. "No, I do not deny it." Whispers thundered across the seats, some voices sharp with anger, others soft with fear. Another voice cut through, sharp like broken glass. "Do you understand what you have done? A bow before her is not a greeting, it is an oath. You have bound your kind to her shadow." Ethan's chest pounded. He wanted to protest, to explain. But every time he opened his mouth, the words felt meaningless. How could he explain that? It was instinct, not intention. How could he tell them he had felt pulled? The girl was there too. She stood at the edge of the circle, calm, silent, her glowing eyes watching everything. The leaders glared at her, but none dared to speak her name. One by one, they stood, each empire giving judgment. The scaled rulers of the Dracath hissed. "The humans kneel too easily, they are weak, they must not rise." The silver priests of the O'Reilly wailed. "No, they are chosen, they must be protected. They carry the silent mark." The crimson generals of the Car Dominion snarled. "If they carry her, then they carry death. Destroy them before they spread." The voices rose higher. The chamber shook with rage. Ethan wanted to scream. He wanted to shout that he was only a soldier, only a man, but his voice would not matter. The council had already decided. His bow was not a mistake, it was history. Finally, the council's speaker, a being older than any empire, raised its many hands. The chamber grew silent. Its voice was slow, like the grinding of planets. Then, "The trial is simple," it said. "If humanity is bound to her, let them prove their worth. Let them face the trial of power." Gasps filled the hall. The trial of power was no game. It was no debate. It was a test that had destroyed empires. It was the way the council judged the right to stand among the stars. Ethan's eyes widened. "What kind of trial?" He whispered. The speaker's many eyes turned to him. "You will be tested, human, not your armies, not your fleets, you. The one who bowed. If you fail, your people fail with you." The words struck like lightning. Humanity's diplomats cried out in protest. "This is madness. One soldier cannot decide for a world." But the chamber drowned them out. Voices rose like fire. "Trial, trial." The girl finally moved. Her glowing eyes turned toward Ethan. Her lips curved into the smallest of smiles. For the first time, she spoke in the council. Her voice was soft, but every corner of the chamber heard it. "Yes, let him be tested. Let the galaxy see. Her words silenced even the angriest voices, and for the first time, Ethan understood. She wanted this. She wanted the trial. The council struck its verdict. The circle of stars beneath Ethan's feet blazed with fire. The ground trembled. A deep hum filled the chamber. The speaker raised its hand. It is decided. The human who bowed will face the trial of power. His victory will raise his kind. His failure will end them. Ethan's heart thundered. He had gone from soldier to symbol, from officer to oath-bearer. And now, in the eyes of the galaxy, he was a trial itself. The alien girl's gaze pierced him. Her whisper slipped into his ear, though she never moved her lips. Do not fail. They are watching, and if you fail, they will not forgive, neither them nor me. The stars burned brighter above him. The galaxy waited. The trial had begun. The revelation, the chamber of the council trembled with light. The circle of stars beneath Ethan's feet blazed like fire. The trial of power had begun. Ethan stood alone in the center, his body weak, his heart pounding. He was a soldier, not a leader, not a hero, and yet here he was, carrying the weight of his world. The council speaker raised its hand. The trial will test truth, it said. The trial will test strength. The trial will test fear. The chamber roared. Empires leaned forward, their eyes burning to see humanity rise or burn. The air split open. A vision formed in front of Ethan. He saw Earth, his home, burning under alien fleets, cities crushed, oceans boiling, voices crying. His knees shook. His breath caught. He wanted to scream, but the vision did not stop. It was not just destruction, it was judgment. The girl stood at the edge of the circle, silent. Her glowing eyes reflected the fire. For the first time, Ethan realized the trial was not for him alone, it was for her too. The speaker's voice echoed. Every empire that bowed or defied her faced this trial. All failed, all fell. Will humanity be different? Ethan's fists clenched. He looked up at the firestorm around him. He thought of his people, his family, his world. His chest tightened. He shouted, his voice breaking. We will not kneel to fear. We will not burn. We will fight. The chamber shook. Some rulers hissed, others growled. But the girl, she smiled. Her voice slipped into the chamber, soft but sharp. At last, she whispered, a human who speaks, not bows. The vision shattered. The fire dimmed. The chamber went silent. The council speaker froze, its many eyes trembling. Impossible, it said. The trial bends to her, not to you. Ethan stared at the girl. What are you? He demanded, his voice raw. The galaxy leaned closer. Every emperor, every priest, every child across the stars waited for her words. Her eyes glowed brighter. Her voice filled the chamber. I am not a weapon. I am not a curse, she said. I am the measure, the judge of civilizations. I do not destroy, I only reveal. And every empire that faced me revealed its weakness. They bowed in fear or defied in pride, and in doing so, they destroyed themselves. The chamber erupted. Voices clashed like storms, but she raised her hand and silence fell again. She turned her gaze to Ethan. But you, she said, you bowed not in fear, not in pride. You bowed without knowing, and then you stood, you spoke, and that makes you different. The words spread like fire across the stars. Billions heard them, billions trembled, for the first time. She had given judgment that was not doom. The speaker stammered. Then humanity, she interrupted, her voice cold and final. Humanity will not fall. Humanity will stand. For now they walk beside me, and the galaxy must choose to rise with them or kneel before them. Gasps filled the chamber. Entire empires trembled. For centuries they had feared her as death, but now she had chosen, and she had chosen humanity. Ethan stood frozen, his heart pounded. He could not believe her words, but he could see the truth in the faces around him. The galaxy had no choice. Now they could not ignore humanity. They could not attack without risking her shadow. The girl's glowing eyes swept the chamber. "This is the revelation," she said. "I was never here to end the galaxy. I was here to find who is worthy to carry it forward, and I have decided humanity is the answer." The silence that followed was heavier than war across the galaxy. Billions of eyes widened, some with awe, some with rage, some with terror. Ethan finally whispered, "Why us?" Her gaze softened for the first time. Her voice was quiet. "Because you bowed and then you stood. That is what the galaxy has forgotten, but your people still remember." She stepped closer. Her whisper touched only him. "Do not waste this gift. The galaxy is watching. And if you fail, the fire will return. Not to me, but to you." The chamber lights dimmed. The trial ended. The council could not argue. The decision was sealed. Humanity had been chosen. Humanity had been marked as Ethan walked out of the circle. The galaxy's whispers grew louder. Some cheered, some cursed, some plotted. But all remembered one truth. The terrifying alien girl had bowed to no one, but she had stood beside a human, and now the whole galaxy would bow to him.